Hi everyone, my name is Mohammed Shohan, and today I will be persuading you on why guns should not be allowed on college campuses. Since 2007, over 37 states have introduced bills to allow guns on college campuses. The thing is, there's no evidence that suggests that guns make college campuses any safer. Grade schools and universities have almost become synonymous with fatal shootings in the last decade. The Virginia Tech shooting right here in our own state in 2007 was one of the catalysts of the debate of whether firearms or concealed carry weapons should be allowed on college campuses. Do the guns help to decrease violence by keeping shooters off of campus, or do they just encourage more violence and shootings has been the question. The answer to this question is that guns add a tremendous amount of violence to a scene that is already unstable with stress, alcohol, and drugs. Guns should be kept off of college campuses because college campuses are already high stress environments, concealed carrying doesn't help decrease crime, and because guns equate to suicide, accidents, and theft. As you can see by this editorial cartoon on the bottom left of the screen that was made around the time of the Virginia Tech shooting, it suggests that we are pledging our allegiance more to firearms than we are to our own citizens and our own students in our own country. Guns should not be allowed on college campuses because college is an already very stressful environment for students to begin with. Students are influenced by a number of factors such as academics, alcohol, peer pressure, and drugs. Adding a lethal weapon to this mix calls for disaster. Firstly, guns and alcohol do not mix well together at all. As you can see by this simple cartoon on my PowerPoint, it just suggests that beer, which intoxicates you, and handling a firearm which could take someone's life calls for absolute disaster, and these two things should not mix at all. Firstly, guns and alcohol do not mix well together at all. According to the article Campus Gun Control Works, written by Evan DePhilippis off of the Boston Review, 31% of college students meet the DSM-5 criteria for alcohol abuse, and alcohol is used in 95% of violent crimes, 90% of rapes, and 66% of suicides among college students. This confirms that alcohol is an impetus for violent activity. College culture is to go out and party every weekend, which consists of plentiful consumption of alcohol. If a violent crime is committed during a time period of the students being drunk, there is a 95% chance that alcohol contributed to it. Therefore, if these same situations replace situations such as fighting in a bar with guns, the plight will become exceptionally worse as it can become fatal. The outcome of a fight that consists of a gun is usually an injury or a fatality. Adding to students' stresses, they have not reached full maturity and they are prone to making mistakes, having their firearms stolen, and unfortunately taking their own lives. Even if students are sober and have no intention of using a firearm in an irresponsible manner, accidents can occur, especially with young college students. Even without the presence of alcohol, accidents happen much more often than gun advocates would like to admit, according to Evan DePhilippis of the Boston Review. Accidents occur, and they occur way too often to be around densely populated college campuses. Individuals who own guns are 4 times more likely to die of an accidental death than where guns aren't owned. Now imagine this statistic, but beefed up with the stress of alcohol, schools, drugs, and adolescence. It is not fair for a roommate to only trying to receive an education to better their future, not to end it. Now you can see by my PowerPoint, I just have a picture of a dorm room here, and you can see how small and congested college dorms are, and you can see how many people live in like one college dorm. So you could imagine how easy it would be to steal a gun for someone who wanted to, because people have people going inside their dorms all the time and their dorms open all the time. So you could see how easy it could be for something like this to happen. Firearms can also be stolen and get into the hands of the wrong people, as I just mentioned. According to a Department of Justice report between 2005 and 2010, an average of 232,000 firearms were stolen each year primarily in residential burglaries. In a survey of incarcerated felons, about one-third of respondents report having stolen their most recently acquired handgun. This is a staggering statistic. Almost 250,000 firearms each year in the hands of people who have already proven to be criminals by stealing the firearm in the first place. In college dorms and living establishments, this becomes even a bigger problem because of close living quarters and close-knit groups. If a student has a gun, and he or she would most likely flaunt the gun and making it known to potential thieves where the gun is located. After the gun is stolen, it is much more likely to be used in a crime. This is making it that much easier for criminals on college campuses to perform their activities. If the previous point is disregarded, however, and the stresses are not taken into account for, having a concealed weapon still does not help decrease crime, but could sometimes increase it. When a student or professor is put into a high-stress situation with the shooter who has already mentally prepared for the shooting, chances are the student or the professor will be in a state of shock and they will not be able to defend themselves. According to the International Association of Campus Law Enforcement Board of Directors, concealed carry initiatives do not make campuses safer. There is no credible evidence to suggest that the presence of students carrying concealed weapons would reduce violence on our college campuses, according to Darby Dickinson of the Greenhaven Press. There is no evidence that can suggest having a concealed carry weapon on campus makes the campus safer. Even if someone has extensive training using a gun, the shock will outdo this training and it will be difficult to act. Against contrary belief, using a gun for self-defense has only caused 147 out of the 30,000 deaths people suffered from gunfire in the United States in 2005. This proves that a tiny minority of people are able to actually use their guns for self-defense. The violence can in fact go up for reasons such as accidental firing of guns, when students are fighting, when drugs and alcohol are involved, and because campus police may not be able to know the difference between a shooter and other students carrying. Guns should not be permissible on college campuses for the main point that they are not safe and are taking too many innocent lives, and as well as the other reasons I have listed. As you can see here on my slide, concealed carry leads to 50% increase in violent crimes. Guns should be kept off of college campuses because college campuses are high-stress environments, concealed carrying doesn't help decrease crime, and because guns equate to accidents, suicide, and theft. College campuses are environments where students are to feel safe and better their education and their futures, not places where they should have to fear. I hope I was able to persuade you on this topic today. Thank you very much for listening. If you would like to see my work cited, I will also attach that in my discussion board. Thank you so much for listening.